Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Howden here. I'm back in Canada. I'm on my middle of my 2-week quarantine, having been on the road for 9 weeks. A bunch of different races, of course, karting events, the SuperNationals, that summer festival, as David Cole called it. There for a number of weeks, and of course, we did the Battle of the Brickyard as well. Went to a bunch of Road to Indy events and IndyCar events. It was a long run, 9 weeks. Back here for a couple of weeks, then back down south. For some more karting events, more Road to Indy, a lot of great stuff coming down the pipe. Today, of course, though, a new Face2Face episode. As we pushed it on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, getting a chance to talk to Alan Rudolph about the new SuperNats Shootout event. Let's bring Alan in here right now and get things underway. Boom. Alan, how are you, bud?
Good, buddy. How are you, Rob?
I'm good. You're down in Houston. I'm here in Canada. I know you were. It's almost fall.
Yeah, almost fall.
You might remember that back when you lived in St. Louis, not so much Phoenix or Houston.
Right. Yeah. No, there's seasons here for sure. There's not in Phoenix. There's no seasons, but
right.
It's finally the hot weather broke here, and it's going to be an awesome couple of weeks coming up.
So let's talk about this. One of the cool things, the reason why we're bringing you on to kind of chat about the event. I know that obviously, with the whole COVID-19 shutdown, the pandemic shutdown, everything getting jammed in, but you guys were really looking forward to having a big event. I know that in the past you've had Texas Pro Kart Challenge races. The Texas Sprint Racing Series is obviously a staple at Speedsportz Racing Park in Houston, your track in Houston, just north of Houston. But I know you guys have wanted to put on a major event for yourself. And so you picked October. You said, hey, let's do something leading into the SuperNationals, right? Obviously, we know that SuperNationals has been canceled. You're still having the event, but the concept was essentially, hey, listen, if you're going to go to a track you've never been to before, which could be the SuperNats is always different, a little bit different every year. Why not come down to our race? We have all the IANDY classes, all the SCUSA SuperNationals classes. If you haven't been to our track, you got to come and learn a new track in a week, which is what you got to do when you go to the SuperNats anyways, right?
Yeah, no, that's right. And I remember the first time Jake French got on the track and did a race back a couple years ago in Texas Pro Kart Challenge. And he's like, man, this thing is super physically demanding. If there was ever a track that kind of prepare you for SuperNats, this would be it. And so that always kind of stuck with me, and you're right. I've always wanted to put on something cool, make it an annual event, kind of like call it Robo-Pong that they do in Newcastle or whatever.
Right, yeah.
We do our annual reindeer run, but that's, it's all 4-cycle stuff, LO206 endurance race, but it's primarily locals. I wanted to get people from all around the country to come in, and so started making some phone calls. I called every big team to make sure that they could come before I put it out there, because at the end of the day, I want it to be a big national level type of race, and I call it the who's who of karting today be here.
Well, the interesting thing too is if the month of October, normally, I'm in Canada, number one, and any other year, there's not a lot of races in October. There's a couple here and there. USPKS is already done. Manufacturers Cup usually gets one in. The SCUSA Pro Tour is already done. Grand Nationals are already normally all finished. It's usually kind of an open month where there's no racing. Of course, now everybody's doing whatever they can to move the schedule around, right?
Yeah. Now it's super. I mean, when I started talking about this months ago, it was easy. It was kind of wide open, but and it works. For all the guys who run USPKS, it's 2 weeks before the last one at Mooresville, so it's easy to come here. Let's go down to Texas and then head straight to GoPro, and so it all kind of works. But there is some other races out there. I don't think they'll affect what we're doing at all. But in my opinion, it's still the right road to. From here, head up to GoPro, and away you go.
Well, to be honest, this event plans to be solid. We've talked a little bit about the fact we've seen Speed Concepts Racing is coming. The Speeds Crosslink competition will be there, of course. Full Gas Motorsports. We'll talk more about some of the teams, the big drivers that are coming. But there's obviously a major 4-cycle race going on right now, which is the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals, the same weekend at Newcastle, but definitely not the same clientele, right?
Yeah, it's a different customer,
right?
Yeah, it's a different customer. I wasn't too worried about that race. Other than PSL, like last year, PSL was at that race. They're not going this year, but I don't. It's just a different customer, so I don't really think that's going to be an issue at all.
Indeed. So obviously, we'll get into more about the race itself, but you roll it out. It's the SuperNats Shootout, and then Tom Kutcher
I was trying to come up with something cool like Texas style shootout.
I like it though. No, I love it. But the whole concept was, hey, because I know that you got on the phone and talked to Tom and said, I want to put this big race on. What can you give me? And one of the cool prize packages was you come to the shootout, you win, you're getting a package to go to the SuperNats. That was the concept, right?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. So it's a one-off deal, and in every category from micro Swift to pro shifter. The winner in each category gets a free entry into the SuperNats. And for me, the cooler part is like all the categories that have over whatever that number is, over 40 entries, and they have to run the LCQ races. The winner is also guaranteed a spot on Super Sunday.
Yeah, that's always big, right?
Something happens. I mean, look, even the best of the best sometimes don't make it because of stuff that happens during the heat races and whatever, you know. So it's cool to have that guaranteed spot too.
It's that get out of jail free card.
That's exactly right. Yeah, you're not pressured really at that point.
Yeah, you're going in. You're going to know for sure that you're going to start the Super Sunday main event, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So let's go to this deal then. And I think this is one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on. We obviously, you guys set out and had that confirmation when you and I talked, the fact that the race is still green. You're still going racing. Even though SCUSA came out with a YouTube video with Tom and Chris Ortenberger saying, hey, you kind of detailing exactly why they couldn't, move forward with the SuperNats this year. They are potentially putting on another event. We're not sure when and where that's going to be, whether it's in November, same week. We'll find out. But, obviously everybody went, hey, you've got a SuperNats shootout. There's no SuperNats. What are you guys doing? And I pick up the phone real quick, and you're like, "No, we're going with this."
Yeah. Tom and I talked long before his announcement, and he said, "Look, that there's likely that it's not going to SuperNats not going to happen because of everything, and but it doesn't matter. Regardless, the tickets are still available. You have two options. You can use it for the 2021 SuperNats, or whatever, if he comes up with another race later this year, you can use it for that event. So, and it doesn't matter if, let's say you win the junior category next year, you move to senior. He said he'd honor that too. So it doesn't matter, even if you move classes or whatever, you can use it, the ticket, for whatever events he puts together at the end of this year to replace this year's SuperNats, or for the 2021 SuperNats. Either way,
it's pretty cool. When you talk about this right now, my mind's like, oh, that's kind of pretty cool. The relationship you have with Tom, obviously, you've known Tom for a long time. We go back to the first Promoto Tour race back in 1999. You were racing for the entire Promoto Tour. Now you're a team owner, track owner, karting dad, instructor, school, and now a promoter. And you've had you're the first class in the Superkarts USA Hall of Fame as well. So obviously a long relationship with SCUSA.
Right there. Yeah.
There it is, right back there. And listen, you even go before the Promoto Tour, because you ran the Great Lakes Pro Series with the Janowskis as well.
Janowskis, yeah. I mean, well, your shirt, my shirt here. What's it say? Number 98 on there. What's that? 98 Pro.
98. Yeah.
But no, I mean, obviously, I've been involved with SCUSA since day one. I remember, Don Janowski at one of the awards banquets or something, saying that he realized they had something with SCUSA when I showed up for a race. I was like, whatever.
I like that.
But I've always been a SCUSA guy, and shifters. I just wish we could get shifters back the way it used to be. I mean, Rob, make us all look like rock stars. And what were we, racing? There was times when there was 70 shifter carts in the pro category. Trying to get to the final, and so I would love to have that back someday.
Hey, but, speaking of that, I got a question for you. Let's bring this in here real quick, because Jimmy Geekus says, or Geikus, I don't know how to spell his last name, but he says, ask Alan, will we have a shifter class that weekend? So, while you're talking shifters, give me a little breakdown. It's the full IME categories, right? Yeah, that's correct. It's the full IME category from Shifter Pro, I call them S2, but whatever. Yeah, right. All the G1 and all the categories. So it's straight up the SCUSA platform from micro through all the shifter categories. And the shifter category to me it's stacking up to be quite the field, with Jake French coming and Musgrave's crew and all them. I'm pretty excited about that. We have not had a big shifter turnout in any races here in Texas in quite some time. And so I think it's going to be a really cool stacked field. I think we all know that numbers breed numbers, right? So as soon as guys start coming, you're like, okay, well, if he's coming, then I'm going to come. It always happens that way. And all of a sudden you end up with 30 guys or 40 guys in shifters. There's enough shifters around the state to come in, and even around the country who want to keep running. So the Musgraves are coming. Is that what you said? Yeah. Yep. French and Mark French has actually helped reel some of these guys in for me. Yeah. I called everyone. I called Musgraves before the event, and they were like, yeah, cool. We've heard about your track. And so, yeah, we'll be there. But Mark French has actually helped out and he knows the current shifter guys better than I do, and so he was making some calls, and it's going to be good. Well, having called that many races there, I think I've called at least 4 races at your track now. Man, there's so many places to pass. I was there when Jake French said it was so physical. He goes, this track is such a great track to run. It's so physical. But you can literally pass. I want to say it's got to be 5 places you can pass on that racetrack. Legitimately.
Yeah, I know. And it's funny, having designed the whole place, that was one of my goals, was to make it a fun track and then challenging at the same time, and also have good racing and passing opportunities. And it's funny that there are places on the track that I thought you could pass on, you absolutely can't. And then there's other places that I didn't think you could pass, and you can, especially once you start racing. So no, it really works out. It's fun to watch some of, especially like the micros and minis in particular. They bam, 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 and the juniors, of course, those kids are just crazy. They'll super aggressive and pass everywhere. Sometimes they're not smart enough to just stay in line and push and get away. They start racing it up, and then it brings the whole field in, and makes for good racing for sure.
For those of you tuning in right now, maybe coming in a little late, Alan Rudolph here from the Speedsportz Racing Park down in Houston, Texas. We're talking about the SuperNats Shootout, the event they have going on October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Essentially, a mini SuperNationals. All the same Superkarts USA programs. We're going to talk a lot about the money they have up for grabs, all the prizes they have. We're kind of talking drivers right now. We're talking shifters, and we'll get back to the track again, because I do want to mention the track, because actually I'll go to the track first because we're talking about it. the mini drivers. Is it the first track you've ever designed that's been built, right?
First one that's ever been built, yeah.
Yeah.
Although, I helped a little bit with the track in Amarillo, and then I did the SuperNats for a few years.
That's true,
Those are all temporary circuits, right? But one to come to fruition that I've had my hands in from start to finish. So this is it.
What I love about the track is I complain about a lot of tracks that will have they'll have a combination of corners where if you block, you're going to get past it, the payoff. It has to be long enough to straightaway after a block that the guy that runs a better corner can get to you. That's what your track's all about. There's so many places, back straightaway, right hand hairpin. If you go too wide coming out of the hairpin, guys will dive in and out. There's so much rhythm that the guys can keep passing each other back. I love about that particular part of the racetrack.
6, 7, 8, 9 combination there. It's just constant back and forth.
Constant passing. Yeah, it's awesome. David Cole in the background helping with production. We talked about drivers coming in. You've got to beat the best in Texas. Is Jordan Musser coming? Is Nathan Stewart coming? Rod Clenard? Are those guys coming?
As far as I know, yeah.
So you got to come down and beat the best in the state. I like that.
That's right.
That's good. Oh, look, Ryan Kinnear. I may shake off the Corona dust for this. Now we're talking.
Well, he is. He's already committed because I got him a spot in the shop. He's going to pit out of the
Okay. All right. That's good. I like it, man. So Ryan Kinnear's coming in. I love it. I see a message here. Chris Freckleton. He's coming in. Can't wait to see you guys out there. I'm in. John Smith says, will Rawlson Performance Group be there? I've been talking to Mike, and I think the plan is to get out here. He's not sure how many guys he's going to have coming out because there's so much. They're on the West Coast right now, right? And they're doing a bunch of racing over there as well. So
timing wise, it works out. I've talked to Mike as well, and he was definitely planning on being here. I haven't been able to get a hold of him last week that they were racing or whatever. But as far as I know, he's coming. I mean, it's the timing. The timing works out perfect. You can roll through here and head up to GoPro.
That's it. Here's another one for you. Tim Trostel says, my son says the track is something for every driver. His favorite track of all time.
Hey, Tim. All right.
I love it, right?
Yep.
Okay, so let's roll. It's a good time right now. Let's roll into actually everything you put together for the race. First of all, let's go prizes and let's go formats for people that don't know.
Great. So first of all, the format is going to be technically it's a 3-day event: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, practice Friday, race Saturday, Sunday. The track will be open on Thursday, so it's an optional practice day on Thursday. And the format will be qualifying, and then on Saturday, followed by 2 rounds of heats on Saturday, and then Sunday the 3rd heat, and then the main you'll start based on the average points for the heat races.
Okay,
is where you'll start the main. One of our customers, good friends at the track, Mr. Scott Ferguson, put up a big cash prize, $20,000 in cash to pay out in all the categories.
That is awesome.
And, Scott Ferguson of Ferguson Truck Center here in Houston. They work on big trucks and whatnot. Great guy, member at the track, has a garage, and just one of those just loves racing kind of guys. He's there all the time, and so he's actually going to race. He runs shifters, so he's going to be out there pounding some laps. And then it's interesting, like guys like Rick Tyner and some of the others that have been pushing USPKS and others to have a big race here. He is so stoked, and so Rick put together, got a couple guys together and put together some more money, and so now there's another $3,000 up for grabs for. I'm going to spread that out over all the categories for pole. So whoever gets pole is going to get some cash handed right to them. The big cash though is going to be in the X30 Pro and the Shifter Pro. And I'm going to do something a little special in qualifying for those two categories only. We're going to do like we used to do, Pro Tour Open Hot Grid.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a 20-minute qualifying session, and they're allowed. That's the only two categories where they're going to be allowed to use 2 sets of tires for the weekend.
Okay.
So you would want to roll up to qualifying with both sets, right?
Yeah.
And go lay down a lap, and if it's not good enough, come in, put your other set of tires on, go lay down another lap. And so it's going to be a hot grid, and both those categories are going to pay $500 to win pole.
Oh, all right.
So that's pretty cool. So I'm excited about that because we used to do hot grid all the time.
We did,
We didn't. I don't ever remember a time where we were changing tires or whatever. We'd come in and make a quick chassis adjustment or something, and go back out. But having the option to put the tires on, I think, is a game changer. Some people will be like, I'm saving my fresh tires for the main. But quite frankly, if it was me, I think I'd rather start the main on scuffs, having 2 laps in qualifying on them, or 3 laps max, than start with a fresh set. That's just my opinion on that.
Well, your racetrack, you know the aggregate, you know what you laid down for the track itself, right?
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what some of the guys do, but that's going to be just in the X30 Pro and Shifter.
I think one of the cool fields I have here is obviously you've got the member base there at the track. You have the people that have been racing in Texas for a long time, and there's obviously a feeling this is going to be an annual race, isn't it? Whether it's always called the SuperNats Shootout, whatever it's going to be, this is something you want to put on every October. Yeah,
that's exactly right. I want to do this, and I'm already talking to some other people about a bigger race next year, and the timing of this would be really good next year as well. And so it's something I want to make it bigger and better every year.
So again, let's jump in then and talk about the teams. I know when you and I were talking, you said you've talked to Mike Speed and Alex Speed. The Speed Concepts crew is going to be there. Is that true?
That is true. They're actually coming this week. Well, maybe I shouldn't say this, but they're coming this weekend to test. So I don't know if others want to come and test too. But you know what? Those guys, at the end of the day, there is nobody more hardcore racing than Mike and Alex, and they've been helping me actually come up with ideas and super supportive of being here and putting the race on the way that we're doing it. So I ran a bunch of stuff by them just to say, hey, what do you think about this, that, and the other? And so they've been on board since day one.
I like it. Okay, let's talk about you a little bit. This is interesting. I know you have the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. It's where you've come from when you were at Bondurant Superkart School, where you were an educator there. But man, you have added so much to your plate now. Track owner, track manager, promoter. Now I'm not going to have a race team, Rob. Well, your school develops drivers. They want to race you. Now you have a race team. You've been doing the USPKS as well. There's a ton on your table right now, bud.
Dude, it's crazy. I never thought it would be this much work, to be honest. My peers who own tracks told me it would be this much work, and I didn't believe them or not. But no, the racing thing is cool. It's just an extension of me and the business, and we, like you said it. I didn't plan on having a race team, but it kind of just worked out that way, and have a great group of kids now, and it's a lot of fun. It's challenging, of course, but it's a lot of fun. And this was the first year we ventured out of the Texas region as a team, and that's been fun. So I just looked at that to keep on growing.
Obviously, on social media, you posted something on the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy page on Facebook. You were coaching a second-generation driver, Austin Henry's son. We've seen Austin race back in the day. His son's obviously doing some road racing. What's that like, getting a chance to work with a young 10-year-old driver like Austin's son?
It's fun. Everyone's a little bit different. Of course, you never know what you're going to get. In this case, though, Davis is the son's name, and dad, Austin. Austin, at least, all the parents come to me and they're like, my kid doesn't listen to me, and blah, blah. Yeah, I know. And same here for, Austin Davis doesn't listen to his dad. But most of the time, the parents don't actually know either. So I help really educate the parents too, they sit in on my ground schools. They, kind of go through the process with their kid. So when they leave, I can say, now you have to listen to your dad because he knows now the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And that is always a big help. But in this case, Austin's been around for a long time and doing it. He already kind of knows. But now I reaffirmed to his son that in most cases parents don't know, but your dad actually does. So when they left, I was like, okay, but your dad actually knows now. So you need to make sure you continue listening to him here forward. But he did a really good job. He had some horrible bad habits that I clicked on right away, and I spent half of a day at least working on some of the bad habits, trying to get them in. And sometimes those are the hardest ones to break through, but he broke through and did a really good job.
Well, as you know, as an educator, a bad habit, something it's hardcore entrenched, right? It's not even, it's something that's it's rote. It's like, it's just what you do. It's a reaction as opposed to something you even think about.
Yeah. No, I know. And he's only 10, right? It's not like
Right.
It's an old dog, new tricks. It was like, he was only 10, but his dad said this was just something he really struggled with, and he could never figure out how to make him stop doing it. And so we got through that, and he did a really good job.
All right, put the instructor hat on. It cycles in well. What's the number one bad habit for young drivers, older drivers? Like, what's the one thing you have to whip out of people? Everybody. I know mine is I turn in too early.
That was the top one that came. That was the one that came to my head right away. As most people tend to turn in too early. Braking is a big issue, especially for the kids. People don't understand about using the brakes properly. Using the brakes properly, it makes you go faster. And the kids, especially when they move out of kid cart, they just don't even know what the brake pedal is because they haven't used it yet. And so that's a tough one. So even like with Davis the other day, I spent an hour on doing braking exercises, just getting them comfortable in the braking. And that's really a big deal, understanding how to use the brake properly to make it go faster. So I'd say bad habits are turning in too early and not using the brakes properly.
So I know that the cool thing about Speedsportz Racing Park, you have the competition track, but you also have the rental track that is separate. It's a separate track. So that's always running as well. And of course, you have the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. So I'm sure that you get a lot of people coming in for the one-day experience, whatever it is, coming in from the rental car track. For the people that are watching here on eKartingNews and want to take their game to the next level, it's something I always say, don't invest in the next axle, invest in your driver, invest in yourself, right? What programs, what did Davis come down? Did he come down for a one-day one-on-one? Was it a 2-day?
It was 2-day. And to be honest, I almost think that's too much for a 10-year-old in particular. We got to, it was in the middle of the second day, and he kind of digressed a little bit. And but he was super focused and determined. And we ended the second day absolutely on top. Fastest as he'd gone, and to end that second day faster and faster and faster on a good note was a really good thing. And I thought that was too much for a 10-year-old, but it ended up not being. So I think it depends on your, I don't know, not skill level so much as your ability. What's that?
Maturity level, maybe?
Maturity level and physical, right?
Physical level, sure enough, yeah.
If at the middle of day 2 you're just physically done, well then it was too much, right? So normally 1.5 days is kind of the way to go, and it is always typically one-on-one. If you come with you come with a friend or dad and son do it together, whatever. But in this case, it's one-on-one.
I have to think that a 2-day would be really good. Obviously, if you can physically handle it, because everything you learned that first day. You go for dinner. You hang out for a bit. You get a good sleep. It all just kind of starts to sink in when you come back the next day, right? You kind of reset the baseline. That's
exactly right. I made we did a little on the track. I sent him home with some homework, and I said, "Dad's going to text me a picture of you sleeping with this thing." So you make mental notes of it throughout the night, and they did. He said they sat in the hotel room and at dinner, looked at the track map and talked about it. And, it's good to sleep on it and come back the next day.
All right. Another question. Aside from you, obviously, you're the primary instructor. Who else do you have as part of the Al Rudolph Racing Academy instructor team and part of Speedsportz Racing Park? I know you probably brought certain people in, right?
Yeah, Jesse Dunham primarily is my go-to second guy. He's been with me at Bondurant for 18 years, and then came here to Speedsportz with me, and so he's always been my right hand man when it comes to that stuff. And so he's had equal amount of time of instructing as I have, being at Bondurant, and then obviously been racing with me for all these years. And so coach, tuner, all that, all that kind of stuff. And he works really good with the kids as well.
That's awesome. Well, okay, so let's go back to the race a little bit here. I was scheduled to go race against David Cole. I was going to beat David again, like I did at the Battle of the Brickyard. I was going to do it again at the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals. Everything kind of, I'm not going there this year. I was supposed to run with Prime Power Team, Trevor Wickens and the crew, right? I got my Charles Leclerc chassis that I was testing up here in Hamilton. And of course, the whole COVID deal continues on, so they can't come down. So I'm not going there. You start this race. You call me and say, hey, I want you to come to announce the race and do EKN live. I'm like, all right, let's do this. Back to my tower. So
yeah, your name's on the door. You gotta go,
dude. We're doing so. We really haven't talked about this. I haven't even pushed it out on social or anything. The race is going to be on eKartingNews Trackside Live, full coverage, all the live play-by-play, and all the coverage on social media as well.
Yeah, that's great. That's why I have your name on the door.
I love that. I love the fact that. Well, I also like the fact that when you built the thing, you said, "Hey, Rob, it's the announcer's tower. What do you need?" Right?
Yeah, I know. Right. Yeah.
That was good. I like that. Hey, let's talk weather, because that's the one thing I was like, I gotta go find out what it's gonna be like. I need to pack. What kind of weather are we going to have? It's not going to be like, look, dude, I've been down there when it's been unbelievably hot.
Unbelievably hot. No, to be honest, this little storm is blowing through right now. The hurricane off the Gulf right there, and temperature-wise is like beautiful the rest of the week. So this is kind of what I'm expecting is like 60s, mid-60s in the morning, up to 80, 85 during the day. This is definitely
that's nice.
Year. Yeah, no,
that's
this
good.
is a month ago, even 2 weeks ago, you didn't want to be here. But October is a great month for weather.
Well, okay, here, let's wrap it up with this. Because a lot of people haven't been to the racetrack before. You haven't been to Speedsportz. And if you're out there and you haven't raced in a bit, or you're looking for a cool race, Miami driver, micro, mini, all the way through the shifter categories, this track is amazing. Speedsportz Racing Park. How about a little overview of the track itself? How many corners, how long? It's fully paved paddock. You guys are you bringing in the food trucks again, or food truck again, like you usually do?
Yeah, we'll have a couple food trucks.
All right.
Yeah, so for those who haven't been here, I mean, look, it's unique in several ways. One is that it's 15 minutes from an international airport. I mean,
it's not in the middle of nowhere, folks.
Not in the middle of nowhere. There's restaurants and hotels within literally 3-4 miles down the road, and everything is building around us. I mean, you'll be amazed. You haven't been here in probably a year now or whatever. Yeah. The water park is open across the street. There's a 7-Eleven going in right behind our property. It's just crazy booming.
Wow.
The road out, the 242 road out in front of us is under construction, widening a 4-lane. It's going to be 4-lane in there. It's just you'll be blown away at all the construction going on around. But
that's amazing.
So 15-20 minutes from George Bush Airport. So it's an easy flight for those who are flying in and out of town. Flying to George Bush. Do not fly into Hobby. Hobby's about an hour away. So flying to George Bush, and then you're just 15 minutes away north on 59, and there's plenty of hotels and restaurants, like crazy right on by. As far as the track goes, like you mentioned, uniquely designed the place with 2 separate tracks. So we have the rental kart track, it just keeps turning and burning. So there'll be rental kart customers out there running while we're running our race.
And then at the end of the day, when all the kids want to keep racing, they go.
Yeah, let's talk about that while we're talking.
Right?
When these kids get done racing, they go over and run the rentals and they tear up my rentals. If anyone does that, I'm coming after them.
There you go. We've dropped the hammer right here.
Dropped the hammer. No crashing my rentals. Or pissing off the other customers.
That's true. Wow. I didn't think we were going to go there, but I like that. The track
itself. I throw it out there because I had that happen last weekend. So
all right. No, we're not doing that. Track itself. How long is it?
It's exactly 0.8 of a mile. Okay. When I designed it, I sent all the stuff over to CIK, the FIA, to get it approved for international racing if I was ever going to have that. And so it is properly designed with the right length straightaways and the width and everything. So it's 30 foot wide all the way around, 15 corners, 750 foot long straightaway. Great, as you mentioned, great passing zones. No chicanes. I hate chicanes. You know that.
Thank God.
I know. But in fun series of S's, turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 onto the straightaway is a real fast series of S's, super fun. So yeah, it's a great track. I mean, it's flat. It doesn't have there's no hills, and it wasn't possible to do that with the piece of property that we have. So it's primarily flat. but it's good for visibility. You can see the whole thing from anywhere you're at. The other unique thing is the buildings, both your timing tower building, the kart shop building has a observation deck up there, as well as the big main building for the general public. You can head over there, and from up on top of the building, it's an amazing view. So there's plenty of places to watch the races.
I hate to use the word like best kept secret in karting, because it's just there hasn't been a major race there. Texas Sprint Series has been there, Texas Pro Kart Challenge. There hasn't been a major national where 200 and something people have come down to the event. That's the cool thing about it. This is an opportunity for people that have never been here before to come down and see this racetrack. Like you say, it's CIK. It's how many corners? Is it four? How many corners? 15 corners, right? Hairpins. 90 degree, couple sweet, like the double apex stuff is so good there. This is an opportunity really for guys to come out, finally check out the racetrack. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, having speeds come. I mean, Alex had been here for some other race a couple of years ago or whatever, so but to have his team come, none of those drivers have been here. Jace Park came a year or so ago, and it was my student for my school, and so this will be his first time racing on the track. So his dad said they're excited to come back here and hopefully win. That's good. Except for I want my kid to win. So either way. But it's cool to get these guys that only do national level racing to come to the track for the first time. So indeed. All right. Well, so folks, if you don't know, as I said, Speedsportz Racing Park, it's the SuperNats Shootout. A ton of cash up for grabs, as we said. Tickets to now confirm tickets to either the SuperNats or potentially whatever SCUSA announces this year, right? Yes, if they put on something else later this year, then you could use that ticket to enter into that race as well. Okay, good stuff. And then entries. Go ahead. Like I said, October 2nd, 3rd, 4th, right? Yeah, October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Tell them how to enter. Please get on the website. Go to speedsportsracingpark.com, and under kart owners, that tab at the bottom there, it says SuperNats Shootout, and that's how you get all the event information and register. Please register. I have to order tires and fuel. Like, that's a whole other thing as a promoter now. I'm like, I didn't know what I didn't know. And thinking about all this stuff, I mean, it's overwhelming. I know. Chassis seals and engine seals and blah, blah, like all this stuff that I didn't ever had to do before. Yeah. And, but in particular, tires. Like, I have to order tires this week. So I need to know how many tires to order, how much fuel and all that kind of stuff, So, please get on there and get your entries in, so I know by the end of the week how many tires to order. The biggest thing in karting, any promoter will tell you, oh my God, people that don't pre-register. Horrible. Last minute. And then what do you mean you don't have a tires for me? Well, you didn't order, you didn't register, right? Right. It's exactly it. That's the craziest thing. All right. So again, folks, as we talked about, October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, Speedsportz Racing Park, fly into George Bush. It's just north of the city, as Alan had said, on the highway that you go up to the track, restaurants, hotels, everything it's literally 10 minutes away. It's amazing. The track itself is fantastic. I've called many races there, as I've told you. At least 6 opportunities to pass and a lot of back and forth. The racing is just always so good at the track itself. Cash up for grabs, as you said, big money for the initial purse, plus more coming in, more money for qualifying on the pole as well for the pro categories, the next 30. And pro shifters. So if you're a shifter driver, come down and sample this racetrack as well. And again, last but not least, as I said, EKN Trackside Live will have full coverage throughout the 3 days. I'll be trackside. Everything will be on our social media again: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We'll get an Instagram story going. We'll jump on this thing, dude. It's the inaugural event. It should be fun. Heck yeah, Rob. Can't wait to see you, as always. I look forward to it. Look forward to seeing you and the whole family. Thank you so much, Alan. I appreciate it, dude. All right, Rob. Thank you. All right, shut this down. Well, there he is, folks. Alan Rudolph. And again, Speedsportz Racing Park. Just trying not to get the glare in my eyes there. As I said before, I hate calling it one of the best kept secrets in karting, because everybody in Texas knows how great the racetrack is. It's just we haven't had a major event there. And this is the event itself. They put it on, so it should be tremendous. I hope you come down, because it's going to be a great race. First week of October, the SuperNats Shootout. Thanks for tuning into this edition, folks, of Face2Face. More stuff coming. We got podcasts to do. And, of course, we'll get this up on the EKN radio network as well. Thanks again for tuning in, folks. Take care. Book it.